This is Dr. Foxen. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to all those people out there. I want to let you guys know that you guys are honestly awesome, and I'm glad to get the comments on every video. Well, not every video, but just please, I don't care if you subscribe, ring that bell, or like. The most important thing is I like when you people post comments on my videos and start saying some things. And honestly, it makes me feel really good. I get to communicate with my fan base and communicate with the people who really do support me, and it means a lot. And I just really appreciate the support. And if you guys have any suggestions on what to make on the story, or if you want to continue any other series, just let me know, and I'd be more than happy just to boot it straight up. Anyway, before I continue this, I want to ask you guys one question. So, actually two. What is your favorite ideal sandwich? Like, how do you like to make your sandwich? And my second thing is, tell me how your day's been going. Anyway, without further ado, let's start it. Twilight looked to her right, and surprise was imminent in her eyes. Seeing what she saw, to say that it surprised her was the least, was a bit of an understatement. He had wings. She remembered Anon. She remembered him. He wasn't dead. He was just off somewhere that Celestia had sent. Her mouth, she was flabbergasted and said, You have wings? How is that possible? Twilight, follow me. It's about time I explain. Twilight was excited yet nervous at this indication. She was finally going to get some sort of answer, but at the same time, was she truly ready to hear what he had to say? Twilight began following him down a path, secluded. He knelt down on one knee and said, Twilight, let me tell you something. I'm here because of you. Back where I come from, my life ended. I faded. I died. And now I'm here. I was sent by a god. Twilight's eyes widened. Just the indication was surprising enough. What do you mean, a god? What do you mean? My lord had sent me down here to harbor you, protect you from evil. There is no danger that I know of, but he wanted me to protect someone who was innocent, like you and your friends. My life does not matter, Twilight. Yours is of the utmost importance. Let me tell you, if I am to spread my wings, I will wrap them around you as I am pelted with arrows. I will not let anything harm you if I can help it. Under my wings you will find refuge. My faithfulness is a shield and buckler. There is no need to worry. Why don't we get back to the party? Before she could say anything, Twilight let out a eep as he took his hands, wrapping them around her waist and lifting her up. holding her, bridal style, carrying her while his wings were suspended, with a mighty flap that sent dirt and small bits of debris away from them. He began flying. His wings soared through the air as he ascended to the heavens above him. As he approached the party, all talk had ceased. They were staring at the apparition. They were staring at this unreal being. Once he landed, he planted both his feet firmly on the ground, gently letting her down, and he smiled, said, "Miss Twilight, I will accompany you. My sword is yours to guide, and my shield is yours to guide. My wings are yours. Where'st we go? Let's go inside." They both walked inside, his wings still out, but firmly onto his back. Once they had walked in, the chatter didn't die down, but some people were talking about it, in surprise and shock. They had heard about Anon, but they didn't know anything like him existed. Twilight had walked up to Princess Celestia, and there was Luna. As Celestia began talking to her dear student, Luna gave him a look over once. Twilight then turned to Mark and said, "Mark, me and Celestia are about to discuss something private, so you can go walk around, please." He nodded his head, bowing, saying, "As you wish, Twilight." He walked off, deciding to patrol, and Luna's curiosity piqued, following him. It had been a few minutes, and he was in the garden, staring at the beauty before him. He always loved flowers. Flowers were delicate and beautiful. Flowers were a source of life, a source of happiness and peace. Many may not believe in the same amount, but he did not care. He shall not care. And Luna, of course, was spying on him all the same. "Hello, this is Dr. Foxen." Luna was staring across the other end of the garden. She had easily maneuvered her way, sneakily, and she watched from the shadows, but then heard him say, "There's no point in hiding, fair one. I present no threat. Come out." She walked out and stared at him and said, Do you have the same tongue around all forms of authority?" He looked, knowing what she meant. She didn't mean tongue by that way. She meant it by the way he speaks. "I simply do not care if you're authority or not. You are living and breathing. You were once filled with evil, now you are not. God has forgiven you for what you've done. He's forgiven you for your sins." He looked to Luna, smiling, with his helmet off. "The Lord above has forgiven you for the sins that you have cast upon those. He knows that you did not mean it. It is okay." As he took another step closer, he said, "Let me tell you. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you." He smiled. "The Lord has forgiven you. Do not hold anything against your sister. You both must become equals, like yin and yang, two fish swimming in a koi pond. If there is something on your mind, tell your sister. She stared. She did not know a person or a stallion could be so wise and noble. She'd always gotten person and stallion confused. She'd preferred to call them stallion, but out of respect she'd call them person, as that's what she called a non usually. Well, young stallion, you are wise as you are noble. We see thy as a gift to us." He turned and said, "Well, you are young as you are beautiful, Miss Luna. And I know that you've lived for centuries. You're immortal, but that does not matter to me. Because might I say, every night I'd stare at the stars, just like I'd stare at the sun. Well, not the sun, but the sunny skies. I'd stare deep into the night. The stars would form so many beautiful bodies. Because of you, I have something to look up to and find hope and happiness. You have a gift. I'm glad that you use it. Because might I tell you, you overall are very, very beautiful. You use your gift to the best of your abilities. I have learned to be kind and compassionate to another, even if I do not feel love in my heart. For I give strong drink to you. I give wine to those who are perishing, whose life is bitter. I let him drink to forget the poverties, and remember his trouble is no more. Although it may not be the best or wisest answer, it's an answer nevertheless. He smiled wider, staring directly at her. And with these words he meant every bit. You have a gift, whether you choose to accept it or not, Luna. Whether you choose to accept your gift is your choice. You are beautiful beyond comprehension. I wish that you could see through my eyes. Only then would you see how truly beautiful you are. At this, her entire face was red. He went over and stared at her and said, "Do not worry, for everything is going to be okay." Luna stared back, saying, We thank thee for thy compliments, and wish to return a small token of gratitude." She leaned her head up. Mark raised his eyebrow in confusion. But then, Lena had placed a soft, delicate kiss on the side of his cheek. At that moment, something happened to Mark. He felt butterflies in his stomach. His heart began to swim. As a goldenish glow emitted from his heart, his eyes went wide. She smiled and said, We must be off then," as she teleported. Mark stood there, dumbfounded. He cracked his knuckles and then popped his neck and said, "Well, I don't know why I'm feeling this right now, but I'm just gonna go get a drink." Mark had learned so many things about forgiveness and passion and all this from the Lord, but god damn, this moron wouldn't shut up. And so when the first gala was ruined, it was absolutely dreadful. This insufferable asshole named Blue Blood, oh my god. He had remembered the Lord's words, "Forgive and forget," but this may as well be the devil himself, because this was hell. This was hell, this was torture. Having to hear this guy ramble on about how perfect everything was and how dreadful some moments in his life could be. Mark rubbed the bridge of his nose, thinking, "Oh, Jesus. Please, strike me down, quite literally." Mark did a small strategy he had learned. He would nod his head, pretending like he was listening, and say, "Yes, of course, I understand." Prince Blue Blood was enjoying his company. Finally, somebody who listened and understood him. Little did he know, Mark couldn't give 2 shits less. While the conversation kept going, Mark found the only thing that could save his life was the tip of a bottle. And Blue Blood enjoyed the company so much that he began drinking heavier things. As the gala continued, things got more crazy. A few ponies were hitting on Fluttershy. She was blushing heavily. Rainbow was talking with Sauron. Twilight and Celestia were laughing and giggling. Applejack was hitting on one of the stallions. Rarity was talking with some nobles. And Pinkie Pie was doing whatever she did. When the night ended, the next morning was when Mark truly wondered if suicide was a sin. Mark had woken up, his eyes groggily, filled with blurred vision. As he got up, he stretched, hearing a few satisfying pops. He felt really good. He then turned and wrapped his arms around the pony next to him, cuddling them. In Mark's mind, he thought, maybe I had gotten lucky with Luna. I didn't really want to, but I guess I'll accept what I get. He'd wrap his arms around their waist, pulling them closer, pulling Luna closer, smiling with happy contentment. However, he knew he had to get up, get ready for his duties. He pulled himself up. When he looked, his whole world shattered. It was like he had been from hell and back. To what he saw next to him, he may as well jump out the balcony window right now, slam his blade into his stomach, because what he had saw was a terrifying sight. He was laying in bed with Prince Blueblood. Sweet Jesus. This couldn't be happening. Why was this happening? If this was happening now, he may as well end it. He may as well end it right now. But to his horror, this was not some sick dream, not some crooked reality or tormenting hell. This was real. He had nailed it with Blueblood. And that meant he had fucked Blueblood. He put both of his hands on his face and just quickly yanked himself out of bed and began getting dressed. His face was flushed. Blueblood woke up and stared, eyes widening in horror, saying, What are you doing in my room, you ruffian?" Then Mark looked at him and said, "I don't know, you tell me how I got in your room." Mark shook his head, ran at one of the walls, casting his fists forward, an orange glow emitting from it. Then he teleported straight through the wall on the other side. Gasping for his breath, he had all of his equipment and weapons as he just ran to go find Twilight and them. He was thinking, what the absolute fuck? Once he found Twilight, he said, "Hey, Twilight, how are you?" "I'm good. You're sweating. Everything okay?" "Yep, everything's A-okay. Everything is alright and fine and dandy, spick and span, lemon lamb. I'm just gonna go, see Celestia. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go do. See ya." He waved his hand and walked off. Twilight knew immediately something was off. Something was wrong. Something wasn't right with her fellow companion. However, Celestia was looking for him. She stopped right in front of Mark and said, "Mark, we have a problem." His face straightened, forgetting all about the night whenever he had, went nose to the grindstone with Blueblood, and said, "Yes?" "Well, Ponyville's under attack." His eyes widened and said, "What? By what?" "Ponyville's under attack by changelings."